What is up, everyone? Bryce here, and today I've got some more Halo 4 for you. This time it is, I do believe, me jumping in late to a Infinity Slayer on Solace, which is a pretty solid map. It's a really decent, I would say, arena-type map, and I think they really knocked it out of the park with the maps in this game, which is going to be something to talk about in just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pick up where I left off from the last video and kind of make this part 2 of my initial impressions of what I think of Halo 4 thus far. And we're going to talk about matchmaking for a second. Right now I think that they're a little bit lacking on the game types for sure. It's right now it's just Infinity Slayer, big team Infinity Slayer, Dominion, which is what I played in the last video, and I explained that in pretty good detail in that one if you guys want to go back and check that one out. Regicide, which is a new free-for-all type, where the person in the lead is the king of that game, and he's pointed out to pretty much everyone else on the map, and your goal is to kill the king because he's worth more points. If you take the lead, you become the king. While you're king, like I said, you're pointed out to everyone else on the map. You also get an overshield to kind of have to deal with that. Max party size going into it is 6. I think the game type max is actually 8. I could be wrong. It might still be 6. Flood mode, which is the new infection. The only reason they changed the flood this time around is because when you are infected, you actually look like a flood, which is pretty cool. Capture the Flag, which is a classic oddball, classic King of the Hill, classic again. And then Team Slayer Pro, which is pretty much Slayer with I haven't really played it. I know it doesn't have radar. I'm not sure what else they changed other than that, but that's it for now. There's no real competitive game modes yet, which is quite odd. I'm surprised they didn't do an arena type setting like they did last time around in Halo Reach, where they had your own competitive game type with its own seasons, and you can rank up like your arena ELO, and it really gave, I think, people who were really serious about the game, like I'm gonna call them tryhards for now, but I would actually categorize myself in that too, because I absolutely loved arena from Reach and wish they would bring it back. I think they're planning on doing some type of competitive mode in the future. I think they detailed that in one of their blogs on Halo Waypoint, and you could probably go there and check that out. I'd link it if I knew where it was, but I'm not quite sure. Now moving on to what I think about the maps in this game. I think the maps are absolutely phenomenal. Like, this is a really good mix of decent symmetrical arena type maps that are going to be, I feel, really popular in MLG for sure. And they're just always fun maps to jump into Slayer on, and I really love them. Haven is probably my favorite thus far, but other than that, you get like maps like Longbow and Meltdown. That, well, Meltdown's pretty symmetrical because it's a pretty big layout. It's still like big to the point where it's meant for either big team Slayer, or I would consider it objective-based modes like Capture the Flag or Assault, which is oddly missing from the matchmaking list, like I said before, from me believing they're a little bit lacking at the moment. So, like, I think what I'd like to see, going back to the matchmaking thing, is definitely just an objective mode in general that kind of mixes Dominion, CTF, Oddball, King of the Hill, and possibly Assault, if they ever plan on releasing that in the playlist. I don't see why they ever wouldn't. But like, they have maps that'd be really good for it, and I think Meltdown was also one of my favorites too, because it's a big symmetrical snow map. I get this really big Sidewinder feel to it, with like the winding tunnels that you get in the middle of the map when you have like this big open areas in between. I would think that that's probably going to be one of my favorite Capture the Flag maps for sure in this game. I'm trying to think of other maps off the top of my head that are really awesome. Adrift is, I wouldn't consider it an arena type map, but it's pretty damn close. It's just got this big circular layout, and it has a real feel from the space station map from Reach, the one that Certain Affinity did in one of the map packs. I can't exactly remember the name of that off the top of my head. Complex is really good. It's another one of those big maps that is not symmetrical, but I feel like it would be really good in like one side assault, or even like a one flag CTF scenario. And I mean, it's just, I'm gonna have a gameplay on it within the next couple of days. You'll see that. I'll talk about that a little bit more. Haven't had a chance to play Erosion yet. Exile is pretty sweet. It's another one of those awesome CTF maps. Haven, talked about it. Impact, have not yet played. I think that's one of the Forge environments. Actually, Exile might be, or Erosion might be another Forge environment as well. Longbow, which was in the Dominion game the other day, which was awesome. It works really well for that game type, for sure. I'm not sure how the bases will be laid out in other game modes like CTF at the moment. Meltdown, which I talked about, it's the big symmetrical map. That would be really good for CTF. Ragnarok is probably going to be everyone's favorite, as it is always the one voted for whenever it comes up in Big Team, because it's the remake of Valhalla. Everyone's played it. Everyone still loves it for the most part. I got a couple buddies that are getting quite annoyed with it, and I'm almost getting to that point, because whenever you play Big Team, it seems like it pops up and everyone votes for it, and you don't really have a choice. So Ravine is another Forge environment. I haven't had a chance to play it. And Solace, which is what you're seeing now, which is a pretty decent arena-based map. It's fairly symmetrical. One side's a little bit more Forerunner-y, and the other one kind of like engulfed in like the jungle or the mountain that you see right in front of me. But it's a really good Slayer map, and I enjoy it quite a bit. Vortex, haven't had a chance to play. It might be another Forge map. Like there's just some maps that aren't in rotation yet, and I think that they're kind of saving those Forge environments for like custom-made maps that they've done, and they'll probably rotate them in and out of playlists through hot fixes and whatnot. But I'm looking forward to actually getting a little bit more variety in those cases, because it's gonna be really nice to see what 343 plans on doing with those maps, and what the community can actually go in and make, because there are a few Forge maps from Reach that were probably I like a lot better than the original Reach maps themselves, at least, because it feels like Bungie didn't really try on their initial round of maps that they made. Certain Affinity definitely did a better job in the map packs, bringing those times around. So we'll see what 343 does with the maps in this game. That's definitely not in the first impression video, because you never know what they're going to come around with next. I'm hoping it's for something pretty sweet, and I think that they also said that they were working with Certain Affinity again, and that they'd be making more maps. And Certain Affinity always does a good job. Like they did some of my favorite maps in Reach. Like I said before, they've probably done a couple maps in this game already, and they actually did a lot of work with Treyarch in Black Ops 1, and they might be. I hope they're working with Treyarch again in Black Ops 2, because the Black Ops 1 maps were fantastic. And it's one of the reasons why I'm actually looking forward to Black Ops 2, but I don't really know, like I said before, how much I'm going to play that due to this game, because it's awesome. And I think that's a good note to end my initial impressions on, is that this game is awesome. There's not really, it's a little early to tell too much like how the game's going to go in the long run, but for now it feels really rock solid. It's drawn me in much more than Reach has, and I could see myself playing this for the next few months, and I would hope that you guys at least give this game a trot, even if you're new to Halo. The multiplayer is some of the best that I've ever played. So on that note, guys, I'm going to sign out. So I'm Bryce. Peace.